Speak, Sherilyn, speak. Okay, for those of you that don't know, my name is Sherilyn, and I really wanted to do this video today because I think it's something so powerful as we step into a new chapter, a new year, hopefully releasing some of the sort of pressures of the past 2 years. I think it's really important to get this message out. So I'm going to be sharing with you today how I have gone from being in debt, being very used to being in my overdraft and having lots of credit card debt, to being able to start my own online business in a pandemic and make more money than I'd ever made in a year in my life. And this is so exciting for me. I'm really excited to share this with you, but I really want you to understand the real stuff that goes on behind this. I think sometimes, you know, we do see any business, online businesses, home businesses, whatever it is that you do, you know, we often do see them very glamorized, and I want to be able to share with you the real as to some of the blood, sweat and tears that went into this, probably quite literally, and also just let you know that I'm nothing special. I'm no one special. I am just somebody that had a dream, a vision. I've always been very sort of persistent and consistent with what it is that I want. I didn't know exactly how that would look, and it feels weird to be doing this video now, if I'm honest, because I feel like I've not yet, you know, sort of made it. But I think it's important to sort of document these milestones even as we achieve them, because what feels like a milestone to me now, because my vision has got bigger, was once the end goal for me. And I'm sure that, you know, many of you will have experienced things that felt like you know, was all that you wanted at that time. Then when you arrived there, you thought, okay, cool, right, now I'm ready for the next thing. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So this is why, you know, setting goals and having milestones and, you know, setting all those things in place is great, but you can't put so much pressure on yourself for having the end goal, because it isn't just about the end, because the end never comes, as I'm demonstrating right now, and there's always more that we want to achieve. There's always more growth that we want. However, the journey and what we learn throughout the journey is what helps carve the path for us to continue going down that road. So I feel like what would make sense is for me to go backwards to come to sort of present day. It's going to make a bit more sense, to give you a bit of context as to sort of how this happened. So rewind. I am somebody who has a background in performing arts and dance. So because of my background, I've always had to do very flexible jobs that are kind of in the back of the, you know, back of the newspaper, jobs that are very much like, oh yeah, you know, we need you at the drop of a hat, sales jobs, call centers, and working in retail, working in restaurants, working in shops, giving out flyers, doing all sorts of different jobs that ultimately, because of the sort of nature of work, they did tend to have a very sales aspect. It was kind of revolving door style jobs where it was just kind of like, right, get the next people in, cool, okay, right, up you go, next one. I have been a debt collector. I have worked in retail. I've worked at front of house in theatres. I've worked on a cruise ship. I've done so many different odd bods and jobs that honestly, I'm not so much now, but I used to be extremely disappointed and ashamed of my CV. And I probably had about 8 different variations of my CV, so that if I was applying for a more office-based job, I'd have a layout of what that one would look like, you know, my office style jobs. If I was applying for something in retail, I'd have a different CV for that. If I was applying for something that was international, I'd have a different CV for that. So there were so many different skills that at the time felt very frustrating, because so many of these jobs were kind of overlapping at the same time. And it was really difficult to kind of figure out my path. But all I knew was that because I was doing auditions and I needed that flexibility, I would just take whatever job I could find at that time and, you know, spray perfume in department stores, and, you know, give out flyers in the street, all that kind of stuff. You know, there was no job that was too bad for me. You know, I was very open to the fact that this is just what I have to do to get to this stage. And, you know, there's been some incredible jobs that I've had. Like, I've got some favorites, of course. I love my time working on the cruise ship, and also I used to be a manager at Alton Towers, and I loved working in the entertainment team there. I also, you know, on the flip side of that, I also loved my job when I worked in Costco in the cafe. Like, you just never really know, you know, where these jobs are going to lead to and the skills that you learn in those situations. But one thing that I will say through all of these different jobs, all of these different things I experienced, was that I was a bit of a chameleon, and I was able to adapt very quickly to different types of environments, different types of people. And I guess that you could kind of say that my networking started quite early on because of all these different jobs. And I'm someone that, like, if I vibe with someone, if I connect with someone, we are staying friends forever. Like, you have no choice in the matter. So, you know, all throughout these different jobs that I would have, you know, there'd be a couple of people that I'd still stay in touch with. And, you know, throughout that, you know, you really do expand your network organically without even realizing sometimes. So that's kind of the base of my sort of background. But then obviously, you know, I loved performing. I loved doing, you know, dancing. But then when I went over to work on a cruise ship, I had a great experience in the entertainment team with Disney. I then came back, I auditioned for an NFL team for in the States, and got all the way through and ended up getting a spot on the team. However, visa issues meant I couldn't go. However, still an amazing experience. Again, still expanded that network and was able to prove to myself that I can do this, and it's just a logistical issue that's stopping me. I've clearly got the talent to do this. So I've always had, I suppose, this unshakable belief that if someone else in the world, somebody else is doing something, especially someone who doesn't feel so far removed from me, I can do this. And what I mean by that is either geographically, either from sort of an age perspective. If it's someone that's maybe also a minority, it makes me feel that if that person can do this, I can do this. And honestly, this is so much of what goes into any sort of long journey. Any journey that feels like a massive mountain to climb right now, sometimes you just need to create a little bit of that relatability with that person. They might have no idea who you are, but you being able to just connect the dots and be like, right, okay, well, that person was once where I am. That is it. Okay, so all I need to do is just keep moving forward. And of course, there's going to be 5 steps forward. There might be 10 steps back. There might be another 5 steps forward. But if you keep putting one foot in front of the other with the intention of overall moving forward, you know, then it's very, very likely you're going to get there. And I think that sometimes there's so many opportunities for us to quit, so many opportunities for us to stop, because the way that we see success and progress is like this. We imagine that we're going to go, okay, cool, now I've learned this lesson, I can go to the next step, now I can go to the next step, now I can go to the next step. But how it actually works in reality is that we'll go like this, and then we go like this, and then we go like this, and then we go like this. So then on those down times, and some downs go a lot deeper than we could ever imagine, and we think, well, we're way back to the beginning now, we're right back to the start. And you know, those moments can be really, really disheartening, and I would be lying to you if I told you that this journey was straightforward, that, you know, it was easy, that, you know, I didn't have my doubts, I wasn't knocked down, because that is not the case. You know, every single challenge that I faced on this journey has really, really been a struggle to overcome. Throughout all of this sort of desire, I suppose, to kind of better myself and move forward, I've experienced a lot. You know, I had mental health challenges that I had to face. I had breakdowns in friendships, relationships. I had to work a lot of jobs that I didn't really enjoy. I didn't necessarily understand my worth. You know, there were jobs that I was working in that I knew I should have been getting paid more, yet I couldn't get paid more because I didn't know my worth. So it was this kind of back and forth, and so many of these challenges I see happening now, it ultimately comes down to the ability to keep moving forward and keep your eyes on the prize whilst you're still doing, you know, the work in the trenches, while you're still doing the difficult stuff. Because sometimes we can get, there's been so many opportunities for me that I almost got stuck in certain ditches because I was like, well, I guess this is just what I'm gonna have to do now. I guess this is where I belong now. I guess this is what I have to do. But you always have a choice. You always have a choice to keep moving forward. And sometimes it doesn't feel like you're even making any progress for the longest time. It almost feels like a horrible relationship, because you're excited about what's to come, then you get knocked back, and then it's all going well, and you know, you're in your honeymoon phase, and then it all falls apart. So it really is, it can be quite damaging. But the only way that you will be able to sort of make that progress is if you continue to go. When I decided that I was going to be back in the UK after, you know, the traveling and, you know, the auditions and all that kind of stuff, I decided that I wanted to have an online business, because through living in Australia and backpacking and having all of these amazing experiences, I thought, okay, this is great. I absolutely love being in a different country and seeing all these, you know, gorgeous waterfalls and going on day trips and just having that, like, that gorgeous life of being able to have adventure intertwined in my life. However, the problem with that was that because of the way that I was working, it meant that I was obviously working in a job. I was working as a manager in an aquarium when I was in Australia, and while I was at this aquarium, it was great, had a good time, great job, everything was all good. Then I would save up everything that I could, have my, you know, 10 days holiday, go to the other side of Australia, have an amazing trip, then I have to come back, save up the money again, then I'd travel up to the next place, then get a job there. And it was constantly this kind of, you know, save and splurge, save and splurge, save and splurge. And that was the only way that I could see that it was possible to be able to have both of the things that I wanted, which was some kind of money coming in, which, you know, we kind of need. And then on the other side of that, you know, being able to have the flexibility to travel to different places. So when I got back after all of these experiences, it made me realize that what I actually wanted was to be able to work and travel simultaneously. I wanted to be able to have a business that I could take with me, so I didn't have to keep quitting jobs or starting a new job or changing branch or any of that. I just wanted to be able to do it all at the same time, because then it just felt like, okay, well, what I can do is, you know, work Monday to Friday on my laptop and, you know, be in different places and enjoy myself on the weekends. And then when I have my time off, I'm still already in that location. I don't have to travel halfway across the world to start enjoying the trip and then come back and deal with jet lag. I could just do it all at the same time. So that was always my goal, you know, for I'd say probably about the past 4 or 5 years. I tried to find different ways to do it. You know, I did a bit of network marketing, I was doing a bit of content creation. So many different ways that I was really starting to build this, and I started to realize that my zone of genius, I suppose, from my performing arts background, was being able to sort of communicate, was being able to build communities, which I absolutely love doing. I've built multiple Facebook communities, you know, growing Instagram accounts, being able to connect and network and speak, you know, in person and digitally. I just felt that that was somewhere that I felt that I fitted quite well. And I wanted to be able to create something online that I could start to connect people, that I could start to bring people together. I did struggle a lot with confidence, and I think that happens to so many people that are doing anything that probably feels outside of, you know, probably the norm, when you feel like you're going against the grain, a bit like you're on an island and no one really understands what's going on. So it is challenging, and you don't necessarily have the belief always to carry you through. So I really worked a lot on my own confidence issues to be able to sort of put myself out there confidently, to be able to share with people what I was able to share. And again, confidence and worthiness go very, very hand in hand. And I didn't understand my worth for a very, very, very long time, and that was a difficult phase of my life. And you know, it still comes back. You know, there are times that I think, oh, like, do I deserve this, or can I really do this? And those questions do seep in. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, that will always be there'll always be those things that try to pull you back, but ultimately I really do have the evidence and confidence in myself that I've built to be able to just try things and know with extreme faith that if I do enough of this, if I do it in the right way, if I get support, then I have much of a chance as doing this as anybody else. And that level of confidence has really carried me through so much of my journey, because if I didn't have that confidence, if I didn't have that belief, there's certain opportunities and jobs and roles that I would never even have applied for. So just to put it into perspective, in the past couple of years, I have been a finalist for 2 international travel competitions to be a blogger and vlogger for the companies. And when I tell you how many applicants applied for each one of these positions, it is outrageous. It's tens of thousands of people, and I'm dwindling down to like the last 5. So a lot of people were looking at me thinking, oh, that's great that you're, you know, great that you're applying for that, you know, good luck. But they don't mean it. They don't believe that really it's possible. I believed it was possible. I manifested, I visualized, I created everything that I needed to create in my head to make me feel like I had already got it. And I got very, very close to the end, which meant that in the process, I was then exposed to more opportunities that wouldn't have come to me had I not started to put myself out there for the purpose of the competition. So then that's how I landed my first job as a full-time content creator. I was able to create content on behalf of the business. I was then given another opportunity to work with one of the other contracts where I was promoting a venue, a retreat venue, create landing pages, write different pieces of content, create visual content, edit videos, design, imagery. And that also led me into getting more content creation roles as well. So what it meant was that I kind of had promoted myself in such a way. I'd grown these communities online. I was very, very consistent and, out there with my own content, which meant that it drew people in. So it's kind of like an organic attraction marketing process that I didn't even have a job at the end of it to attract people into, but people were understanding that there was something there. There was something in branding, there was something in community building, there was something in social media marketing that I could absolutely support with. So then that led me to realize that actually it's great for me to be able to create content on behalf of all these different brands. It's exciting, it's fun. However, I feel like I'm not able to use my voice in the way that I would like to. Of course, any business that you work for, you are working on behalf of the business, so you have to kind of relay their message. Whereas I had my own message I wanted to relay, and I felt that hiding behind other people's businesses wasn't the best way for me to do that. So what I decided to do was get some help, which I would honestly recommend. I'm talking to you. I would recommend that all of you have a desire, have the need, get rid of the pride that comes with asking for help, because asking for help and getting the right help can make the hugest difference in your journey. I don't know it all. I don't know everything. But I'll tell you what, I can find out something. I can find out the next thing that I need to know from somebody else that's done it. And it's exactly the same with you as well. There will be so many things that you already know and that you can do naturally. But again, I had all of this expertise in branding and creating and all of this stuff, but I have no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how to, attract my dream client and work with the type of people that I want to work with, or put a course together or coach. Like, I didn't know any of that stuff, but I knew that I wanted to do it. So that's how I thought, right, okay, I need to get help because I need to I've got all of these different puzzle pieces. I need to bring them together, package them up so that I'm actually able to do something with the skills that I've got. Because at the moment, it feels like everything's here, there and everywhere, and there's no actual process for me to help people. So then what I decided to do was get some help. And honestly, it was the best thing I ever did, but I will tell you, it was probably one of the most challenging things I ever did. I had to then face so many of my personal demons that I thought I'd got rid of from years ago, around self-worth, around being able to deliver, around being good enough. All of these different things came rising to the surface because, again, now I'm wanting to work with people and have a direct impact on their journeys. And what if I'm not equipped to do that? What if I've not got all the things to do that? And these are all of the questions that kept coming up for me. And through getting the right support, through getting a strategy, through getting everything in place, it meant that I now knew how to deliver. It meant that I knew how to create. So this is how I birthed the confidence cake. It was an idea that came to me as a result of me obviously struggling with my own confidence and wanting to help women specifically with theirs. I for sure feel like there's so many industries that particularly women struggle to get seen and get their voices heard because of their own internal confidence battles. And I feel like if, for example, if there's a job application, I feel like so many women will look at every little detail in that job application, think, oh, I've not quite got the skills for that, or I'm not quite right for that, and then they won't apply. Whereas men, in general, tend to apply for things regardless and just deal with the consequences after. There's some statistics around this, and I've seen this play out many times in the particular industries that I've been in. And I feel like so many reasons that women aren't necessarily where they want to be isn't because they don't have the skills or the education or the ability. It's mainly because of their lack of belief and confidence. So I wanted to create something that packaged that, but I also wanted a sort of like a channel or a portal to put that confidence. I wanted to be able to have them do something with that confidence. So it's designed for business owners or people that are starting a brand to be able to grow in confidence, but also simultaneously apply that to online marketing, whether it's a business that they're creating, whether it's, you know, a personal profile that they're wanting to jazz up so that they can get further ahead in their career, whether it's a community, whatever it's going to be. But being able to use the basic skills and foundations of social media along with confidence to be able to take everything to the next level. And that is exactly what I've done. So I'm a product of my own course without even realizing it, which is why I have created that. So going back from where I was going to now, obviously there was a period of time that I didn't have the quote unquote skills to coach. I didn't have the ability to be able to do it. So I didn't feel confident in my ability, of course, because this was brand new to me. I'd never done anything like this before. So I started working with people on an ad hoc basis just to kind of build my own confidence, to be able to see what kind of results I could deliver. And then that's where I started to build out this package. This is really where I started to see transformations in the people that I was working with. And I thought, it works. It freaking works. And as soon as you have that feeling and that excitement and that rush that, you know what, I can actually make a difference in someone else's life, then it is so important to pursue that. It's so important, no matter on what level it's going to be, even if it's a small bit, even if it's one person a month, even if it's going to be a huge course, whatever you decide that this is going to be, where you find that feeling of excitement and joy and you're loving to see the transformation and the impact that you have the power to make, that's the area that is pulling you into it. That's the area that's calling you. And I have seen that. I've seen that my excitement and my joy has been able to rub off on my clients. I've seen them create incredible results and be able to build their dream lives. And it's incredible now to sit here and think that if I hadn't had that confidence, if I hadn't decided I'm gonna freaking go for this, then there are people that wouldn't have then felt that impact in the way that I was able to do that for them. They wouldn't have felt the transformation that the confidence cake provides. And I really feel empowered in my ability to do that, but also I feel like every single woman that I've worked with, every single client that I've had has felt so empowered within their own journey that they have moved forward in a way that they would have just struggled to do by themselves if they hadn't been confident enough and secure enough to just ask for help. So that is pretty much the journey of where I've got to today. And just to give you a bit of a rundown as to sort of what this business has created for me. Now, as I said right at the beginning, I've been in all of these different jobs where I had to work and then travel and then work and then travel and use all my holiday days, then be in debt and then come back and have no money. And it was always this battle. It was just the way that I lived. I didn't really know any different. I didn't know how we could do it any differently, to be honest. Like, no one gave me a rule book. No one told me what was going on. So that was just how I had to deal with it. So with all that in mind, it meant that when I had created this, which happened quite organically in the sense of, yes, of course, the action went into it. I mean, I was non-stop because I was working full time. I was also doing freelance work. I was also learning how to build a business and working with my sample clients in the beginning. So it meant that my workload was a lot. And there will be a period, it doesn't have to last as long as you think it's gonna last, but there will be a period of time that you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so many different things, I'm spinning some plates. But in order to get to where you want to be, there might have to be a few plates spinning, just so that you can get the momentum and the knowledge and the skills and the practice that you need in order to get to where you want to on the other side of it. So there are so many women out there who have incredible businesses, or they have a lot to offer in the workplace, or they've got great brands, but honestly, no one would be able to know from the outside because they're not sharing it. And we have a weird complex about self-promoting and being able to kind of like big ourselves up a little bit. But in all honesty, so much of the opportunities and so many of the different roles and things that have come to me are because of my ability to be able to trust myself and my ability to be able to self-promote in a way that feels authentic. There are ways of self-promoting that don't have to be icky. There are ways of doing sales that don't have to be yucky. There are so many different ways for you to be able to do things. And this is what the Confidence Cake brand is all about, taking you through that journey. So to put it in perspective for you, some of the things that I've achieved in the past few years, I honestly thought would take a lifetime for me to achieve. And I actually did, I looked at my vision board recently and I just couldn't believe some of the things that I'd managed to tick off that I hadn't, thought I would tick off this soon. I thought that it was stuff that maybe would happen later on. So of course I launched my business, that I'm able to help people with content and confidence combined, which are things that are so near and dear and passionate that I'm passionate about and super near and dear to my heart. I have been able to be completely debt-free, so no more overdraft, no more credit cards. Like, I am fully paid up, which I know to some people might be like, yeah, well, you should look after your finances. Yeah, well, I didn't know any better. I had no idea what I was doing. So I'm really, really grateful that I've been able to pay that off. Not only that, but also start saving as well. So I've been able to put money away, you know, for future, for rainy day, for plans. You know, and I'm not necessarily just living in the bottom pit of my overdraft like I used to be living. I have been able to go, I mean, I've gone viral multiple times. I've been featured in the Washington Post. I've had interviews by, you know, different people online magazines and blogs and podcasts. I also started my own podcast as well, which is awesome, so definitely be sure to check that out. I've bought a car. I've been able to collaborate with some incredible women that I didn't think I would have, you know, the proximity to be able to do. I also was on the panel of Oxford Brookes University talking about women in entrepreneurship, which was so awesome for Black History Month. So that was a real like pivotal moment for me, that I was able to offer that, you know, that perspective and be able to share my journey with people as well. Obviously created my online travel community. I've got some incredible results for my clients, and I've also been able to travel freely without the fear of coming back and having to kind of start again with my finances or go back to basics. And you know, I've been able to actually travel and still have money coming in. I went over to Turkey, I went in a hot air balloon, I was working from this gorgeous cave rooftop, and I was just living my best life. And I was like, these are the things that I wanted, this level of freedom. I'm able to help people out when I can help them out, spend quality time with my family, and all of this, you know, it wouldn't have been possible had I not got out of my comfort zone and decided that this was the direction I was going to go, this was what I needed to pursue. So I really want you to understand the level of what confidence paired with strategy, and I guess that portal to move you to where you want to go, the impact that can make on your life it's just incredible. Really is incredible. If you are someone who feels like you are kind of one step forward, one step back, 5 steps forward, 7 steps back, and you're constantly yo-yoing over those goals and those dreams, and then one thing might happen and then it makes you go back 10 steps, and then you go, I quit, I'm done, but there's still that niggling feeling, there's still that feeling inside that makes you think, oh, but just what if I could do this? I want you to know that that was me all over, hands down. Some people do this journey in a lot quicker than I did. Some people take a lifetime, but either way, we're all moving forward. We all have our own story, we all have our own journey. And I encourage you, if you're listening to this today, it's for a reason. So I encourage you to tap into that part of you that knows deep down, and I know that there's a part of you that knows for sure that you can do this and knows for sure that you've got what it takes. And like I said, I don't have superpowers. I'm not an alien. Like, if I've been able to create the life that I wanted, which is to be able to choose the hours that I work in the day, I'm able to work with people that I choose to work with as opposed to who I have to work with. So all of these different choices, that was the balance that I wanted in my life, and being able to create that and have the foundations of that in place so that now I can start to build on that. Now I can start to take things to the next level. But you know, there was a time that this did not even feel like it could happen. So any of you that are listening today and you feel like you need a nudge in that direction, I really encourage you to reach out. I will be talking a lot more about this on my podcast, so if you've not yet listened to that, please do tap in and tune in. But also I'll be talking about this a lot on my social media. There's a few secret things coming up soon that I'll share with you. So keep your eyes peeled. My mailing list always finds out everything first. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled and stay tuned for that. But I honestly wish you so much love and joy and excitement on this journey. All you have to do is keep putting one foot in front of the other, even if it feels like the world is against you, even if it feels like everything is, you know, gravity is trying to pull you back. You have the strength within you to keep moving forward, even if it feels uncomfortable. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really looking forward to see how everything unfolds for you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to staying connected. Bye guys.